Did you know that the word slut didn't mean at all what it means today? It was actually used to describe kitchen maids and servant girls. While the term began with the more suggestive connotation of a woman with loose morals, it was also used with the original meaning, which was of a messy, dirty, or untidy woman or girl. It was in the 14th century when the word first popped up in English with a dirty or untidy definition. By the 15th century, it has started to be used to describe promiscuous women. It also came to be a somewhat common term for an ugly woman. As to where the word slut came from, that isn't entirely known.
We chose this topic because it is important for society to know that the term slut is sexualized violence, and whether used directly or indirectly, it still affects the victims. For people to change this issue, they must be aware and to know the meaning behind the term and how it involves victim blaming. We decided to hear the public's opinion about the term slut by coming up with some questions. We started off by asking what the word means to them and where they learned it from. Then we asked them if they thought it is okay to use the word slut in movies because it's just acting, or if it degrades women in both movies and reality. Lastly, we were interested to see if they have ever noticed how women are treated differently from men in movies in terms of sexuality, power, and other factors. So here are each of our interviews and what we had to say about them.
I think a slut is a female that is sexually promiscuous. I heard that word in high school. I went to an all-girls high school, so that word was like thrown around all the time.
The word slut, I defined it as a woman or girl, a teenager, that has had multiple intercourse with multiple people without being in a relationship. And I believe I first learned that word my freshman year in high school.
Okay, I would define the word slut as somebody who is promiscuous, and I think I learned the word slut when I was in middle school.
I would define the word slut as a woman who engages in various sexual activities and is not shy about it, and it's common to others. It's common knowledge to others, and I learned it, if I'm not mistaken, I think 6th or 7th, middle school.
I would define a slut in a couple different ways. Someone who sleeps around with a lot of different people, someone who has zero self-respect and doesn't carry themselves in a way that portrays that, and someone who goes after people who are in relationships.
A slut to me is someone who sleeps around with a lot of people, doesn't have a lot of self-respect.
I mean, I'm so desensitized to the word slut. Hearing it in movies really isn't a big deal. I think it's just acting. But I also think that it does encourage people to use the word because a lot of people watch those movies and end up just becoming desensitized like I have and end up using the word and throwing it around.
I personally believe it degrades women in movies and reality because we all, even though if you didn't learn it from somewhere else and you see it in a movie, then you probably think it's alright to use it anywhere else. And sometimes we don't even know the meaning behind the word, and we just use it. So it's kind of a two-way street, and I'd rather just avoid it completely instead of choosing one side over the other. So I think it's just not to be used at all.
I feel like the word slut does degrade women in society nowadays, and unfortunately I feel like it's common also to use in movies to depict as an art form, but I do feel that it's derogatory and shouldn't be used.
I'd say I'm neutral.
I think it's okay to use the term if it's necessary.
I think it's okay to say anything in movies because it's just acting and they're just trying to portray a picture.
Definitely. In movies, women are sexualized all the time. Just from how they dress them, how they behave, women are seen as sexual symbols. I mean, in reality, you see it all the time, like in the workplace. I mean, women are expected, like, at least on a professional level, men treat women definitely like the lesser. They aren't as professional with them. If you look at how Hillary Clinton is with the rest of the people in Congress, like the men, they hug her instead of like shaking her hand like an equal professional. There's definitely like a power imbalance.
Well, in movies and in life in general, there are various stereotypes. Like, let's say, women, they can't play sports like with the guys, which, I mean, me as an athlete personally, I kind of believe that stereotype until a little further on where I got my ass handed to me actually playing sport against a female. So after that, I kind of forgot. I kind of threw all the stereotypes away. So as an example, also like the word slut, like if you don't think, like if you don't know that person, or you don't hear that person has gone around or has been called a slut, then me as a guy personally, as soon as I hear that some person is, or a girl is a slut, I would personally just try to have sex with her and then move on. But if I don't hear no words or nothing, or any type of association to that word, then I kind of treat her.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that happens so often in movies that I can't think of one specific time, because I notice it always, because it's become the norm, and people, because it happens so often, it becomes normalized and it's not made of a big deal, because that's just the way it's supposed to be. So I can't think of a specific example, but I know that it does happen a lot of times in movies and it's not okay.
For example, in the movie Mean Girls, when Lindsay Lohan calls one of the girls sluts, everyone just seems to treat her differently.
Sometimes, not particularly, but if so, maybe in movies that relate to money, the stock market, and male power.
As a generalization of the results of my interviews, the interviewees seem to have learned about the word slut in high school, where the word was thrown around, whether it be a co-ed school or an all-girls school. They all define the word slut as degrading and inappropriate females who have no respect for themselves when it comes to sexual behavior, in terms of whether it is okay to use the word slut in movies just because it is acting, or whether it degrades women in both movies and in reality. My interviewees mentioned either being desensitized to the word, not thinking about the meaning before using it, or that movies give the okay to use the word and can be as an encouragement to do so. The one male interviewee never seems to have noticed how women are treated differently in movies, and actually mentions having beliefs and stereotypes until losing to a female in a game and believing that he was an undefeated athlete. In the Urban Dictionary, the word slut is defined in various interesting examples. Here are some. A derogatory term. Refers to a sexually promiscuous person, usually female. One who engages in sexual activity with a large number of persons, occasionally simultaneously. A girl that's fucked so many guys she can't close her legs anymore. A girl who has sex but does not enjoy it, who is used by guys and lets them do it. She does not have the self-respect to make them stop. A girl who likes sex, so she does it. She probably is not in a relationship, and she equalizes herself to guys by treating sex the same way they do. Now, here is Jenny.
Thank you, Idelis. From my interviews, I noticed that the majority of them define the word slut very similar. A sexual or promiscuous woman. It also appeared that most of them learned the word in schools. It makes you wonder, who and why are people using that word in schools? While there were two people that said that the word is degrading to women in both real life and in movies, one person was neutral about it.
I think a lot of people feel the same type of way about each question. Men and women definitely have different opinions, but what I found was that a lot of their answers were very mainstream, in that they were very similar ideas. I think society has played such an important role in people's perceptions of the word slut and what it means in both film and reality. Hope this has brought awareness and insight as to how the word slut has affected the people of this generation and society in general.